Hey there, and welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast, the show that's all about helping photographers just like you build a thriving business without sacrificing your sanity. I'm your host, Kendra Swalls, a former teacher turned full-time photographer and marketing coach, here to fill your earbuds each week with practical tips, real-life stories, and a whole lot of encouragement. So if you're ready to dive in, let's get to it because this girl means business. Hey friend, welcome back to the Girl Means Business podcast for part 3 of the Marketing for Photographers challenge series, whatever you want to call this. We are over the halfway mark. We have this episode and then one more to put all the pieces together. So what we've worked on so far, if you have not listened to part 1 or 2, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to those. If you listened to them and then you stopped to work on your assignments from those two things, go back and do a little refresher and then come in here and listen to part 3. So in part 1, we really outlined kind of the framework of what we're going to be doing and why we need these things in place, how it's going to benefit you. The goal of this entire challenge is to help you put into place a marketing strategy for your photography business that is not going to require you to spend a lot of time doing the marketing. And that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today when we talk about these workflows, these automations. How can we put things in place that are going to run behind the scenes of our business so that we don't have to be on our phones or on our laptops or quote unquote on call all the time in our business? So in part 1, we also talked a lot about the power of email marketing and why I feel so strongly that email marketing is such a great way to grow your audience and to build relationships and to build that know, like, and trust factor that's going to turn viewers and visitors into paying clients. And just a real quick little side note here. I was talking to one of my coaching clients today. She's a member of our Greenhouse coaching membership. And in our conversation inside our private Slack channel, she was asking me about kind of this rebrand, this pivot that her business is taking. And one of the things that she mentioned was that she really wants to move away from using social media. It's not good for her own personal mental health. And, kind of the conversation was around like, is it possible to actually grow a business without relying on social media? And I've talked about this quite a bit here on the podcast, but my answer is a loud, resounding yes, because while social media can play a role, it does not have to play a major role in your marketing. And there's so many other things that are more powerful and longer lasting. And email marketing is one of those things. And so it's one of the reasons why I really kind of push that part of the funnel, because I do truly believe in my heart of hearts that it is such a underutilized aspect of marketing that photographers overlook. So if you have not jumped in yet, if you're just listening to the episodes and considering what parts you're going to take away from, definitely go back and re-listen to part 1 and really consider the idea of putting this email marketing strategy into place, because it really can absolutely change how you're doing your marketing in your business and how you're connecting with your audience and getting new leads and new clients. All right. And then in part 2, we really dove into lead magnets. So creating that freebie, that thing that you're going to offer your audience is going to get them onto your list. And that is how you're going to expand your reach beyond your current clientele, beyond your family and friends. How are you getting new people onto your email list so that you can then turn those people into clients? And lead magnets are a great way to do that. So what I want to really dive into in part 3 here is, once you have all of those things in place, you have your email marketing set up, you've created your lead magnet, you're putting it out into the world, and you're starting to get people who are signing up for your email list. Then what do you do next? Well, just like any new friendship, relationship that you build, you want to make sure that they are feeling welcomed. They are feeling like this is a good place for them. They made a good decision to choose to be a part of your email list, to be a part of your community. And that starts with a welcome series. So I like to think about it as if you were to go out to a park with your kids and you start talking to some mom that you're sitting on the bench next to, and y'all really hit it off. And you're like, we're going to exchange numbers. Let's hang out. Our kids are getting along great. We get along great. Let's, become friends outside of this park area. And you leave there and maybe you send a quick text that says, "Hey, looking forward to chatting again soon." And then a few days go by and you haven't heard anything. You're going to start to kind of second guess, and you're going to start to think over in your head, well, did I say something? Did I, maybe I was reading into it more than they were? Like, you're going to start to have all these questions and start to feel like, well, maybe it's not really as reciprocal of a relationship as I'm hoping it would be. Your email list is the same way. So when someone freely gives their email address and says, "Hey, I'm interested." They've raised their hand and they said, "I'm interested in learning more about what you have to say and learning more about what you have to offer. Please send me information." That is what they've said. You need to follow up right away with something that makes them feel like that was a good choice that they made. So the biggest thing here is setting up this welcome series. We're going to talk about a couple different automations, but this welcome series one is one of the ones that I'm like, it's a non-negotiable for me in my business. If you join my email list through a lead magnet, you are going to get added into this welcome series workflow. So the way that this works is within Flowdesk or whatever platform you're using, they will have what they call workflows or automations. In Flowdesk, it's called workflows. So I'm going to call it workflows. And what that is it lets you create a series of emails, anywhere from one email to 100, which you don't need to do 100, 3 to 4 or 5 are fine. But it allows you to create a series of emails that will then be delivered to your audience based on a trigger that you set. So for the case of this episode, what I want to focus on is creating that welcome series based on the trigger someone joins your email list. So what you do is you'll go into workflows, you'll set up a new workflow, and the first thing you're going to want to do is select like what is going to trigger this workflow to start working. And you're going to select that they have joined a segment or a list based on whatever lead magnet. So let's go with the idea that we talked about in the last episode about if you're a family photographer and you're creating sort of a holiday around town guide of things that families can do over the holidays. And so they've come to your list through that lead magnet. They get put into a segment based on the fact that they came onto your list because they downloaded your free guide. What I want you to do then is that is your trigger. Anytime someone new joins that list, that segment, that group of people on your email list, then they are going to be starting this workflow. So the very first email needs to be a thank you email with whatever your lead magnet was. So in this case, the very first email gets sent out with a link to the family fun guide, holiday fun guide, whatever you're calling it. And then a little thank you note from you. So something along the lines of, "Hey, I'm so glad that you downloaded the holiday fun guide. I am excited to see what exciting adventures you and your family go on. I would love for you to tag me in your pictures that you post on social media when you would, go to any of these places." Give them something else to kind of do, but also to know, like, just you're really grateful that they have chosen to be a part of your community. And then I like to sort of set expectations. And I know I like these emails to kind of stay short and sweet. So you can decide personally what your preference is here. But typically what I do is mine is like the little thank you note, the button where they can then download their guide or get the access to whatever they were getting access to. And then I do a little PS at the bottom. And at the bottom of that little PS, I will set the expectations for when they can expect to hear from me. So in that little PS section, I might put something along the lines of, "I'm excited to start sharing with you lots of really cool information, advice, tips, whatever you're sharing. You will hear from me approximately one time a week. I don't plan to spam your inbox. Just know I'm here to support you and share valuable information with you." And that way it just kind of gives them a heads up of like, "Hey, you're not going to hear from me every single day. You're going to hear from me once a week. If you have a certain day of the week, that you send things out. I send emails about the podcast out on Wednesdays. So in my welcome email, it'll say, you're going to hear from me every Wednesday with information, with tips and stories and valuable information along with that week's podcast episode link." And that way they know, like, this is when I'm going to get these emails and I'm not going to be surprised by it. I'm not going to be overwhelmed by it. It's not going to be something that you're getting a million times of, because that's a fear that, a lot of people have when they give their email addresses. They're like, "Well, I don't want to fill my inbox with like daily emails that I have to like read, or I'll just start deleting. So setting that expectation. So that's the very first email. And that email should be set so that it delivers that email right away. Here's the great thing about that. Remember I talked about like not having to be on call all the time? So if someone opts into your email, if they sign up for your email list at, midnight on a Saturday because they're up late and they can't sleep and they're scrolling and they come across your lead magnet, they're going to get that information right away. They don't have to wait until Monday morning when you're back at work or back at your computer to then have to receive. We live in a society where people want information right away. And especially if they are getting their lead magnet only through email. So when someone downloads your lead magnet, you have two choices. You can give them their lead magnet right away. So as soon as they click enter, it takes them directly to that lead magnet, that PDF or whatever it is you're delivering. You should still deliver it via email as well. Or they are going to have to then go open their email to get the free thing. I personally like to do option A. I take them directly to the free thing, and then I also send it to them in an email. And that way, I know this happened to me multiple times. Like even if they click the button, it takes them to the, holiday family fun guide. They scroll through it, they click out of it, and now they're like, well, crap, I don't know how to get back to it. Like I downloaded this thing, but where did it go? Or it took me to this link to this PDF, but now it's gone. It's really frustrating. So I also send it to them in an email right away so that they know, okay, I don't have to worry about it. I have it saved in my inbox. But that way it gives them the instant gratification of they got the thing they wanted right away, and now it's also safely stored in their inbox. So that trigger goes out right away. Then I want you to create about 3 to 4 more emails that are part of this workflow. And I want you to think of this as kind of the introduction to who you are and what you do. So in the first email you sent out right away had your lead magnet. Email number 2, you can send out in a couple of days. So with the welcome series, even if I'm sending emails out on a weekly basis, my welcome series, I like to have all the emails sent within about a 7 to 10 day period of time. And then beyond that, they will hear from me once a week. So in the second email, I might introduce myself. Who am I? A little quick backstory on how I got into whatever photography I'm doing. Something fun, personal, that lets them know a little bit more about who I am and who they're going to be hearing from. In that email, I tend to talk about like what my style is. I love to share like funny friends quotes or gifts in my emails from friends. So if you're friends lovers, like you're going to love my emails. Like I just like to infuse a little bit of personality into that second email because that's where they're going to kind of really make the decision of, is this someone I want to keep hearing from? Because I got the thing I wanted, but do I really want to stick around? So share it. Again, keep it kind of short and sweet. We don't want to tell our whole life story in an email, but we want to keep it short and sweet. But you do want to give them a glimpse into who you are outside of what you do. So give them a reason to know you and like you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Imagine this. It's a Wednesday morning. You've just finished listening to a podcast episode, maybe even this one, and your head is swirling with so many new ideas for your business. But at the same time, you're feeling a little overwhelmed and confused on what actually you need to be focusing on, or if these new ideas you have are even worthwhile. Now imagine that in the midst of your overwhelming confusion, you can pick up your phone and directly message your personal marketing coach to get clarity, feedback, and inspiration to help you know exactly what's going to keep you on target to grow your unique photography business. Well, the good news is that's exactly what you're going to be able to do very soon inside of my newest offer, The Greenhouse. The Greenhouse is a personalized coaching membership that allows you direct access to me as your marketing coach for your business, along with a community of other photographers there to cheer you on, support you, and be with you every step of the way. Now, if you are just looking for quick fixes, viral hacks, or another online course that you'll probably never finish, then this is not the place for you. But if you are tired of feeling like you're doing everything on your own, you're craving real support, community, and clear direction in your business, then you belong inside the greenhouse. However, the founding member launch is going to be a very short window of time and very exclusive. So if this is something that sounds like what you need in your business, I would love for you to join the waitlist so that you get early access along with some exclusive bonuses. So head down to the show notes, click the link, and get signed up. I cannot wait to see you inside the greenhouse when the doors open soon. The third email that you're going to send out a couple days later, and you can space these out as much as or as little as you like. You can do every 2 days. You can do it every week. You can do it every 5 days, whatever you want to do. The third email is where you share a little bit about what you do. So this is where you can really talk about, maybe why you specialize in the one certain thing, or why you love, family sessions with toddlers, or, sharing a little bit about kind of any story into why you got into this genre of photography. We're not giving them a call to action yet. We're just filling them in on kind of the who and the what. And then the fourth email you're going to send out is where you're going to talk about maybe some behind the scenes fun story, or you can share a client testimonial. You can give a helpful tip, answer a frequently asked question. Like you can turn those into multiple emails. That's why I'm saying there's really no rules on how many emails a welcome series can have. So if you want to do 2 or 3 fun emails before you kind of wrap up the welcome series, you can. If you just want to do here's a couple client testimonials, here's a funny behind the scenes story that's happened, then do that. And then the final email is where you're going to invite them to book with you. You're going to give them, maybe a really clear call to action. Give them a clear button of how to get in touch with you, whether it's reply to this email or fill out this contact form or send them to your website where you have all your information. But that's where you do your clear call to action. And then you can tell them again, going forward, you will now be in my general weekly email newsletter where I send out X, Y, and Z. So that is the sort of anatomy of this welcome series. And again, it is yours to sort of play with. It is yours to figure out okay, what's actually working. And this is where, even though these are automated and they're going to run behind the scenes in your business, they're going to be sent out on whatever time schedule you tell them to go out. Even though you're doing that, you still need to pay attention, because let's say you create an email list with 6 emails and you go back after a couple months and you realize that after email 4, people are starting to drop off. They're not opening 5 and 6, or they're unsubscribing, or they're no longer clicking links that they were clicking before. It'll give you insight into, well, maybe I need to change up that email number 4, or get rid of email number 4 and just go ahead and push them through to 5 and 6. Or maybe I need to shorten this entire thing and combine some of the emails together. So you can kind of play and tweak with it and see where the fall off is and kind of adjust and make changes, test it out for a little bit longer, and then make more changes until you get it just right. That little Goldilocks theory of, it's not going to be just right the first time. You got to give it some time to kind of do its thing, analyze the results, and then go back and make changes. A couple of things with the automated welcome series. One, these are some of the mistakes I see people make. One is they make it time specific. So the goal with this is that you create it, you set it up, it runs all the time in your business. So you do not want your welcome series to be time specific, meaning that if you create this welcome series right now, when you're doing fall mini sessions, you don't want the call to action to be book a fall mini session, because someone might come onto your list in April and they're getting this email about fall mini sessions that's no longer relevant. So you want to make sure it's what I call evergreen content. It is content that can live in your business year round, no matter when somebody comes onto your list, because you're going to have people joining your list at various times. And so you want the welcome series to feel relevant to all of them, no matter when they come into your list. The second thing is overloading them with too much information right away. So like I said, we want to keep these welcome series emails very simple, very short, to the point, infused with a lot of personality, but don't give them novels to read. In fact, break it up with bullet points or, fun memes or GIFs or video links or whatever. Like just kind of break it up so that it makes it really interesting. But don't stuff it full with just so much information. The next thing kind of is like a double-edged sword. So I've seen people who will, every single email feels like a sales email. And that's a problem. You don't want every single email to be a sales pitch. Your emails should feel like a conversation with a friend. And then every once in a while you say, oh, hey, by the way, I have this thing you might be interested in. But if every single email is, hey, come buy this, hey, come book this, I'm offering this, I'm offering that, it starts to become like those emails we all get from Target or Kohl's or Old Navy where you're like, oh, they're just trying to sell me on something else and I'm going to unsubscribe. But if it feels like it's coming from a friend where you're sharing stories and you're sharing tips and information, then they're more likely to want to stay on your list longer, and then you can sell to them occasionally. The opposite side of that is there are photographers that I have seen who never ask for the sale. So you want to find that happy balance. Again, it's that Goldilocks theory of you don't want to go so far to one side that you're pitching them something every single email. You don't want to go so far the other way that you're never asking them to book with you. So you got to have that happy medium where you're, every once in a while you're throwing in that little link to like, hey, come book with me, contact me, check out my latest sessions on my website or what I have, the offers that I have. And then the final one I've seen, which is like a common mistake, is you're using ChatGPT to write your emails, which is fine, but then it doesn't sound like you. These are going to be the first impression a lot of times that people have of you because they may have come across your lead magnet on a Pinterest pin or on social media. They don't really know who you are. They've never really met you in person. And this is their first impression of who you are. And so if you are just doing a ChatGPT, create me a welcome series, that's fine and good and great, but you've got to change it and make it sound like you. You have to put your personality in there because, again, you want these to sound like they are talking to a friend. And you want to attract people who are going to like you for who you are, not just some robotic, generic email. Okay, so here is your homework for this week. You have already been tasked with setting up your email platform. You've been tasked with creating or starting to create a lead magnet. What I would like for you to do this week is come up with a 3-email welcome series. First email, like I said, is going to deliver your lead magnet and give a little thank you. The second one is going to tell them a little bit about who you are. The third one's going to tell a little bit about what you do. Start with those 3. And then I want you to read them, give other people your emails, put them in a Word doc, share them with some family and friends, and just say, hey, how does this sound? You can put them in a Facebook group. In fact, I would love for you to join my Facebook group, Marketing Collective for Photographers. I'll link to it down in the show notes. Come over there and share with us your email list template, your email welcome series templates, and I'd be happy to give you thoughts, ideas, feedback, all the things so that you can help make it the best version it could be when you first launched it. And then the setup for this is actually not very hard. All you're going to do is you're going into that workflow section of Flowdesk, you're adding your trigger, and then you're creating the emails and you're spacing them out in between. You're going to put in there, how long do you want them to wait between emails? So that very first one goes out right away. And then do you want to wait 7 days before you see the next one? Do you want to wait 2 days? You'll just make that adjustment and then you'll add the next email, and they have a million templates so you can make it look really nice and pretty and on brand. Okay. Before we wrap up, the last thing I want to say here is I want you to not feel overwhelmed by all this. I know this is a lot of steps and it's a lot to kind of think about, especially as we're kind of heading into fall busy season. I get that. I do not expect you to do this all in one sitting. Just know that. I'm just placing this here for you to use and come back to whenever you need it. Whenever I mean, honestly, I would like for you to do it sooner rather than later, because I think there's a lot of people who are listening or have listened to episodes in the past and have been like, okay, that sounds great. I will add that to my to-do list when I have time. Well, when I have time never comes. So if you can even start a little bit at a time here and there, then when you actually have a little bit of free time to sit down and go, okay, things have slowed down, I can actually focus on this, then you already have some of it in place. So don't let it overwhelm you. Just take little bite-sized pieces of it and work on it when you can. All right, guys, I hope that you have a wonderful week. Like I said, please join me over inside of the Marketing Collective Facebook group. Share your thoughts, your ideas. Feel free to share any files you're creating or working on, and I'd be happy to give you feedback on those. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you back here next week for part 4, same time, same place.